All right, I'll take that one back and go from there. Okay, guys, are you ready? Okay. All right, just stop anytime you want to ask any questions. This is real informal. This thing's really simple to operate. So this will be the training for the lime feed system, lime slurry, liquid lime slurry. What you got is start with a 4,000 gallon tank. You got a mixer on top that'll turn 24/7 once we put the material in. Right now it's running because I have 4 feet of water in it for testing. We're going to drain the water back out of it, you know, before the chemical comes. So, but once chemical is in, meaning lime slurry, don't turn it off. It's 24/7. Let it mix. Just runs. It's designed to do that. Mixer turns. It's got 2 sets of blades on it, top and bottom, midways, and turns about 50 RPMs. It's really slow, but the tank has baffles inside it. It's not just a smooth tank. So it makes 3 or 4 different vortexes in there, keeps it really mixed up, so you don't ever have to worry about it settling out or anything like that. You guys are going to feed a pretty thin slurry, percentage-wise. You're thinking like 10-12%, something like that, so it's not really much thicker than water, because you guys, the demand you need is not really that much. You don't need a whole lot of material. So I'll give you a couple other things on the tank after we move around to that side, but that's pretty self-explanatory on that. Okay, if you can see these pinch valves right here. So what I say for this valve, this one particular valve, is identical for the other 2. They're all the same. So what you've got, this black valve here has a hand wheel on it. It's a pinch valve. It cuts the product on and off. In other words, you close this, it's like, you've got a lot of other valves like this. When the threaded rod is out, the valve is open. That's just a quick way of looking at pretty much any gate valve or pinch valve. If you see the threaded rod in for any reason, somebody's cut it off. So it has to be fully extended all the way out, and there's a rubber pinch inside it. We want it fully opened for product to come through. You have 2 limit switches on top here. In other words, you open this hand wheel all the way up and it will come over and click and make this limit switch. The pumps will not run unless the valve is 100% open. That's just a safety. It won't let you come out and open it halfway and turn it on, because we don't want it halfway open. We want this valve 100% open all the time. And for service work, you'll close it, the rod will go in, and it'll hit another limit switch on this side, which will be a safety that won't let you run the pump either. When the valve is closed, you can't run the pump. For safety, obviously, you don't want it running dry. So that's just an open-close safety limits on it. Right now, it's in a state that it stays. The only time you should have to close it, or anyone should close it, is for service. Reason being, it's right here on top. This is a 3-way ball valve. It's in a feed position right now for chemical to come out. What we do is we flush these pumps, or you will flush these pumps automatically. Once you turn the pump off, this actuated valve will open, and it will allow fresh water to come through and flush all the way out to your feed point. It cleans the line, cleans the feed line, cleans the check valves, all that good stuff, and it purges the air out of the system, everything. So you don't have to worry about it clogging up, because we want you to rotate these pumps about once a week. And to do that, you just cut it off on the panel, it'll close, this will open, and it'll flush. And it's on a timer. When it times out, it closes right back, and it's ready to go again. It's that simple. You don't have to do anything to it except cut the pump off. I'm just explaining to you how this works. So, having said that, there is a manual and an auto switch on the front of it. Right now it's an auto because the PLC is controlling it. If for some reason, whatever the reason may be, that the valve goes bad, something goes bad where it can't be controlled electronically, you flip this switch to manual and you can open the valve. This hand wheel opens it. It'll turn, you'll see it turning when it's automatically running, but you have an indicator right here on top, a position indicator. It's like a T, it lets you know which way the valve is turned. So it's really simple. If you want to open it, you just watch the indicator and you can see and hear the water go through it. So that's just, all 3 are the same. But in order to operate it again by the PLC, you got to flip it back over into auto. Normal operating in auto, leave it. But this, we're showing you how, you want to know how to operate everything in hand manually. So you can flip it and just open the valve. It's as simple as that. Any questions there? Okay, it's pretty simple. These lines here that go across these T's are supplying your flush water. And when we go and we'll run the pumps here in a minute, you'll see it's very obvious how it works. It's really simple. There's a dilution water here and a water meter here that you will, if you need to dilute the slurry thinner, we will, usually our driver, well, not usually, always, our drivers will handle the dilution of the slurry. But if in the future you decide, hey, we want to feed a little thinner slurry, then we all get on the same page. Don't just do it without everybody knowing about it. Because once you put the water in it, and you can't take it back out. It's thin. You'll have to put more concentrate in it. So that's what this valve is for. It's just dilution water. It just goes right on top of the tank. So right now, like I said, I've got a little over 4 feet. And we'll get back around there, but if you, as you're standing there, the top left-hand corner of that panel, you'll see a red line display. It's 4.2 or something like that. Yep, that's in feet what's in this tank. That's your level indicator sending that signal. You will receive that signal back to SCADA. You can see that level from inside. And you can also control the pump speeds from inside in auto, but this is hand operation. So that's one of the things you will be able to see inside is the level. But having said that, this is your dilution water valve. Don't open it unless you want to add water to the tank, period. And if you do, then you've got a meter that you can say, I want to put 500 gallons in it or 200 gallons, whatever, just watch that, and it's easy, it's simple. It's manually operated stuff, real simple. Before we go around to the panel, I want to show you the pumps. They're really simple little pumps, pulsatrons. They, what I say for this one is the same for the other two, all the same. So to control them, you have a dial on the front, a little window here. You open this up manually. This is something you want to look at closely. This big knob in the center is the stroke of the pump. The little small dial on the right bottom corner is the speed. In other words, it'll stroke really long strokes, and they'll stroke them really fast or really slow. So that's the speed. So what you want to do, in my experience with these pumps, they're small and you've got a long feed line. What I want to do is, for me personally, I would run this pump with the stroke all the way up. You want the longest stroke possible, and then adjust the speed of the pump, which you can do from SCADA. You'll slow it down and speed it up, the volume coming out with the speed up. Let the stroke length stay the same. Because if you shorten that stroke length, it's just barely, you know, it's got a long, you've got over 250 feet of line you've got to get it through. So just leave that stroke all the way up. But just so you know, that's what that is, stroke control, and that's your speed. Now in the bottom left here, if you can see it, there's a hand and an auto button, knob rather. Right now it's in hand. It's a picture of a hand. It's real simple. There's an arrow pointing toward the hand. And so I've got them where we can operate them in hand. So before you switch this over to auto, Josh, this might be something you might want to do, but you come back out and these knobs, all three of these knobs will go back over to the counterclockwise to the auto position. You see the picture of the hand? Yep. That's where it's at now, and it needs to go over there to the auto position. And that's hand. So very simple. And you've got other pumps that are similar. They're all the same. But that's the same for all three of these pumps. They're really simple to operate. But another little trick to operate them in hand is don't do it when the pump's not running. If you want to change this stroke of this thing, do it while it's running. Because you're fighting against it if it's not running. When it's running, you'll feel it just bump, 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 bump like that. But if it's not running, you break the knob off trying to adjust it. Other than that, these things are basically a throwaway type pump. They are rebuildable. There's a small kit, a cop kit, means keep on pumping kit, that you can put the check balls and redo the little valve in the front. That's not too bad. These pumps run hot, to the touch hot. So don't panic when you say, "Ooh, that thing's hot." They just run hot. The manufacturer will tell you that it runs hot. And it's not dangerously hot, but to the touch, most pumps you say, "Oh, that's okay." This one's like, "Wow, that's hot." It's hot because it's all contained in this one little unvented little cabinet here. So it gets pretty warm, but that's what it's designed to do. So we'll leave them right now in hand. Any questions there? I mean, you just yeah, they're simple. They're common style of a pump. You've got some behind you that even operate the same way. They plug in. They're all 110 plug-ins, so it makes them really easy to change. If you need to, you can just disconnect the power cord, or you can unplug it here and run off an outlet. 4 screws, set it right back on, plug it back in. That's how easy it is to change a pump out here on these. And you know, you change a tubing on here. 10 minutes you can change one out. Not to say that you're going to be doing it, but these pumps run a long time. We've had them 2-3 years before you even had to rebuild them. So they're pretty durable pumps, but they're small, they're lightweight, they're not a big severe duty pump. So it's a small dosing pump. So not to overcomplicate anything, everything good? While we're standing here, this is pump number 3. So just so you can see it operate, would you turn P3 in hand? Okay, now turn P3 off, please. Watch this valve. Well, automatically opens. Hear the water? Okay, I've got these labeled. 2. See the water coming out? I've got them hanging on the wall over there. Yeah. Normally that's going to be in your basin. I just dripped them over the wall so we could see the operation of this thing. Now it's flushing. They'll all 3 do that, but you won't see that because it'll be going into the basin up there. It's timed for right now. I'll get into this in a minute, but it's on a timer. When the timer completes, it's 1 minute right now. We're going to increase that time. I'm not happy with it. I think it needs to go to about 5 minutes. So we're going to send our programmer by here, and he's going to hook up to the PLC and make a little quick change and increase the timer on this. The reason it's flushing right now is because the line's full of water. But when it's got lime in it, I'm not satisfied that it's completely flushing only 1 minute. So we're going to go to 5 minutes and be safe. Because it's only water going right back in your system. It's your water. See it closing? Okay, now it's done. Now put it back in hand. Right up. Wait 1 second. Okay, hand. There you go. You're feeding material now. You can't see it, but it's not going to be like that. It's a very small pump. It's just a small little drip coming out of it right now. Now, we've got a lot of feed line rolled up over there and a lot over there. Probably 100 foot more than we need total. Wordsmith, they're going to bring a conduit up, over, and down, supporting conduit for this. Right now, we've just got a temporary laid on the ground. But it will be going up, high, and over, and down. So, and some of that's going to be cut off. You can cut it off, please. Thank you. So, again, every time you stop this pump, it's going to flush. It's going to flush, even from your office. That's what you want to do. You want to stop these pumps once a week, turn the other one on, let it start pumping, and there you go. It's flushing out. You forget about it. That's the whole design of the whole thing, is so make it easier on you. Now, having said that, when you turn this other one on, it's going to take a little time for it, because it's a small pump. It's just putting out, I forget how many, I apologize for not knowing that number right off the tip of my tongue, but it's only a few gallons an hour. It takes quite a bit of time for it to go make it all the way out there.
2 gallons an hour.
Yeah, so it's going to...
So does this your line solution pretty thick or
thin? You're going to be around 12%. Not much more than the water, but still, even the water takes a minute for it to get out there when it lines completely empty. So when you flush all the lime out of it, it'll take a little bit for it to get back out there again. You know, it might take 5 minutes. So don't, if you see a pH change, you know, give it a minute. Just because if the basin was right here, no big, right into it, but it's not. We've got it underground, up and over and all that, so it's quite a distance to get to travel before it gets, you actually see the lime slowly get back into your system. Okay. If it sits here for a little while, which it's going to, we're going to put the chemical in it. Before you actually start seeding the plant and feeding chemical, you want to turn them on, let them flush, because they may drain out, and they're going to cut the lines loose and put some more air back in them and all that stuff. So flush them before you, just don't come out and flip them on, or from in there. Flush them one time really good, then turn the pump on. And I recommend that you run it at the high speed to start with, to get it primed up, let it get it going, then you back it down to what you want it to. Because if you started it on a really low tick, tick, it would take half an hour to get out there.
Now, isn't this tubing all the way up there?
Yep, yes sir. And, go see that big coil. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
If we break a line,
you should never break a line. You should never see it. It's all going to be contained in containment. It's underground. It's in those 3-inch conduits going up, and they'll be encased in a conduit.
These right here going
yes,
to the wall?
yes sir. And they'll go all the way over right down into the basin. They'll be covered completely. And the only thing you'll see is the end of the tube coming out into the basin. No way you should ever break it, cut it, step on it. It's totally protected.
What about calcium built up? We acid wash them?
No. There will be no buildup. That's the beauty of this thing.
What's the pH of the slurry?
12. Always. It'll be 12.
Okay, well that's
It's a high pH.
about as high as it gets.
It's high as it gets. Well, you might get higher, but it's a 12
14
pH.
would be.
Yeah, but this is a 12 pH and reacts really quickly because this is pretty much all, even though it's a suspension, your thin will be 12%, pretty much all diluted. It's going to be really reactive material. But as far as buildup, we don't have it. Now, I caution you, don't cut these lines and put like, hey, I want to get a sample line or something in it, or put a little valve in it. Don't, because that's where you'll get a clog. We specifically designed this thing with one continuous feed line, no breaks, one smooth tube. So don't go up there and cut in and put a T in it. No, that's where it'll clog, because it'll hit that T and it'll turn. When it turns, it'll start, and lime has a positive charge and loves itself. It'll start sticking and then it'll clog, just like that. So it's a real simple design when you understand it, nothing to it. So any questions here? I mean, it's pretty simple. Go to the front of the panel, and now that we've already operated it, mixer turns 24/7. When you turn it off, you get a fault, and you're going to get a light. That's going to be blinking, I think, on SCADA, but you should get the fault back on SCADA. And you got an alarm. That's an alarm. We didn't put a horn here because it was not requested. You guys have a loud horn, but you can silence the alarm. Yeah, you can silence it, but you won't clear the fault. That's only an alarm silence. So it will not let you forget about the problem. You gotta come out here and fix it. So you'll run it in auto when you get SCADA on, but it's just as simple as turning it on. It goes away. Once we put the lime in it, let it eat.
We put in the generator will exercise.
It will?
Will that
Affect any
during
of
the
this?
switch gear movement, is that going to set this alarm off?
It depends on how fast it happens. If it happens slow, then yeah, it's going to kick it out, and you may have to restart it, or you may have to reset it.
Delay.
If there's no delay, what's going to happen is,
I mean, delay in this system.
the PLC, it's got a battery, but I'll have to ask that question. How long will it be before it? I think it's instant. If it sees a power drop or a brownout or anything like that, it
Because
shuts.
our switchovers are normally kind of slow.
Okay, well here's what's going to happen. Your pumps are going to be running, and you're going to lose power. And even though it's in hand or auto, the PLC, when it restarts, thinks you cut it off. So it's going to go into a flush mode, which is not a bad thing. But you say, oh, my pumps aren't, I'm not getting any lime anymore. That's because it's flushing. Because it thought you turned it off, not the power surge or whatever, or the switchover. So just
Do you know how fast
this
the
should
switchover's
start
gonna
back
be?
up. This mixer should start. I'll ask that question. I'm pretty sure if it's an auto, now hand it won't. I don't think it will until you come out and reset it on the panel. I'm almost certain that in auto it restarts itself once it sees the power. These will still flush. PLC will think it's shut. You shut it off because it doesn't know where the power's coming from. So it will flush. And it in auto, when the power comes back up, the pump should restart right away.
But then it's going to do it again when the generator switches back.
Yeah. Every time you lose power to it, it's definitely gonna flush, which is what we want it to do. It's designed to flush every time you shut it off. So if that becomes an issue, then maybe we can address it in the PLC. How often do you think you'll do it?
So they run them once a week.
Once a week.
Plus the neighborhood over here, they're buildings. We've been having an increase of just power going out in just a couple of seconds. And then because I'll come in and the alarms are going off inside the building.
I understand. Maybe that's something
Not
we
long
can.
enough for the generator to run, but
Well, if I don't have power to this panel, there's not a whole lot I can do to control it. You know what I mean? If you drop out the 480 to it, then But even though the PLC has a battery and it's maintaining its memory to its last previous setting, it'll go right back, which means the pumps will start back up and the mixer will start back
Let's
up.
just see if there's a delay, if we can do a 1 minute delay or something like that.
Yeah, I'll have to.
Should be good.
I don't think the battery, obviously I know the battery's not strong enough for PLC to keep the mixer running. It's got to have 480 power.
Oh, well, I meant the alarm part.
Oh,
I know I'll run that, but
You're-
delay on the alarm. 1
we
minute.
can do that. Yeah, we can possibly. I mean, it's only a flashing light, but you know, you kind of want to know about it.
Oh yeah,
Sure. That's up to you. If you want to change, absolutely, we'll change.
they're looking at using $1 million a month of electricity over there, so they may be hogging us out a little bit on
No kid.
3-phase.
I understand. Well, hopefully that's not an issue, but if it is, then we'll address that. That won't be part of the training as far as video is concerned, but we'll address that issue between us and the contractor, whatever we need to do. If there's anything we can do to help, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
So the pumps will automatically come back on?
Yes, sir. The PLC.
But you're not sure about the mixer yet?
Yes, in auto it will
Oh,
restart.
the auto will restart.
Yeah, everything will restart. But everything's going to go into a flush, and then after it
Okay.
flushes, it's going to go restart. You may never even notice it.
Yeah, you may not.
You may not notice it, but if it's in hand, everything shuts off, and you'll have to
Right.
come back and reset.
Well,
out here.
normally nothing should be in hand, it all should be in auto. But
Yeah, understood.
will you have to reset the alarm on that mixer once it goes off and comes back on?
That I can't answer. It should clear the fault. It should clear its own fault. But
Are you going to do a test on all this equipment when the generator gets up and running? So
We're doing that after this.
Oh,
I mean, as far as starting up the generator.
power the plant?
You've got push the test on the lights. That's nothing but, let's say, okay, the mixer faulted, but I didn't see a light. So this is only to test your bulbs. Well, this didn't come on, but we had a fault, so just check it, make sure the bulb don't burn out. That's all that's for. Just test your bulbs. It's a pretty simple panel, not complicated, just selector switches. We've got a high, low tank level and a reorder line. I think the reorder is at 2 feet. When it gets down to 2 feet in the tank, you'll want to call us, and it's a small tank. It's less than a full load of slurry. So we have to, it's a special load that's delivered. So we have to do some calculations on the correct amount of water for it.
it comes in as a liquid or
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It comes in on a liquid tanker and it's pumped right in. You'll never
It's
see it.
easier to.
does that, your tankers, do they keep them mixed too while they're driving?
Yep. See, we only haul it from Bartow. You can only haul it about 5 hours. They're open bore tanks, and it's going to be loaded fresh that morning. And it's just like slosh. It's just totally mixed when it gets here, and it can sit for a couple hours where you don't have to worry about it. But the driver's not going to do that. He's going to get here and get it right in there, get it going. So that's no issues with that. If we haul it 5, 6, 7 hours away, then we got issues. It'll settle out. But no, this, by design, we have a manufacturing plant 5 hours away from every location. So you don't have to worry about that. That's on us anyway. We take care of that as far as the delivery goes. Trucks are self-unloading. They have pumps, gasoline-powered engines on the back that pump. The driver will hook up. I'll show you in just a second. We'll walk a couple little things around here. Just a quick connect. He'll hook it up. He'll come in and write down the levels on a sheet of paper. Sealed if you want the seal number. Sample if you want to sample. Any of that stuff. And then once you give him the go-ahead to unload, he'll load the tank. Simple as that. Not much to it. Probably take him 30 minutes to unload it. I'll leave this running for just till we get through the training, but I'm gonna cut this off. This is water.
Right.
And it's your water, which we're gonna drain back out to make room for the chemical. But for training purposes, everything works the same. Turn them on, let them go, and they'll all three work together. Turn them on. They just go at it. And they'll all plug at the same time.
How much? What's the dilution?
Once they bring the liquid, it's done, it's diluted.
Oh, what you want, what you ordered, you're going to get.
What you order, you're gonna get. When you order, you'll get a preset amount. Now, right now, all three of these valves are open. See, that's gonna happen if you lose power in hand.
Flush, yeah.
I thought you said that the driver will handle the dilution.
If it needs to be.
If need.
If need be. Shouldn't never need it. We're going to
So it
deliver.
would be
Because
maybe 5%.
if you order 10%, it's going to come in 10%.
It's going to come in
That's what
10.
it's gonna be.
If you
Yeah.
want to dilute it later on, you can, or if the driver
5.
needs to. It's only there for if we need it after the fact. It's going to come in exactly like you need it.
Okay.
You shouldn't have to touch it. You see water running everywhere over there now. We got everything flushed.
Yeah,
I didn't know if you brought in
Watch
you
that
know, a
there.
heavy solution and then he diluted it
Oh,
on.
no. We do that on some tanks, but they're 20,000 gallon tanks. And then
Yeah.
he'll deliver a 4,000 and he'll dilute it down to a 10 there, but we don't need to do that. Same, all these pumps are the same. They're all flush as you can see them going. Manway, pretty self-explanatory. This is just a drain, butterfly drain. Yeah. You also might want to put your own. Well, I put a lock on it. Put a safety lock on it. You can, but you can also put a padlock right here. These can be cut. This can be tampered with. But if you don't want this drained or the ability to it, this got a hole for a padlock. But the thing about it is, if you ever lose a key, you know you got to cut the lock, which is not a big deal. Just a simple master lock. Stick it on there, and you're done with it. You don't have to worry about some kid hopping the fence and draining the material. Overflows over here. Nothing to it.
Anything to worry about if this gets on you?
No, absolutely not. It's lime slurry. It may dry your skin out a little bit, but you can rinse it right off. Now in your eyes, it will burn your eyes because it's reacting with the water in your eyes. It's changing the pH so quickly in your eyes. Not recommended to get in your eyes, but it's not hazardous by any means. You can spill it out on the ground and it'll grow grass. It helps the
I've
grass.
seen 2 eye wash stations that close together.
Well,
That's something.
you're good to go. It makes you think this is really dangerous, but now the alum is another story. You don't want to mess with that. That's some serious stuff. Overflow. Keep a check on this little flap right here. This is a vent. Excuse me, not a vent. It's an overflow, and if it overflows, it'll open that little weighted flap, but it's to keep the bugs out. This thing acts like a chimney when it gets hot, and every little bee and ladybug and everything will build in here.
Wasp building nests up there.
Yep, wasp nest, everything. So just as you walk by, ride by, just make sure that doesn't get knocked off or whatever. It helps keep the insects out of your slurry. Then it will open if it overflows. And this is the fill line. Nothing to it. Pretty self-explanatory. The driver hooks up here with his truck. He'll park right here and open the valve, start the truck, load the tank. Vents on top. There's a disconnect on top. If you ever need to get up there for any reason, it's within sight of the mixer. You can just hit the disconnect. Manway on top. You can open it, look down inside it. Don't get in it, obviously, because the mixer should be running. I highly recommend once a year service this thing. Change the oil in the mixer, which we'll do the first year. It's on us. Service the pumps. Change the oil. It's even though you're a waste plant, it's still food grade oil that we use. So you don't have to worry about it if you ever see it. But that's the life of these mixers. It's like changing your oil every 3,000 miles.
Yeah, we change all our gearboxes once a year.
Once a year.
We use most of all our stuff is like shallow mallet oil. Is that?
No, this is a Schaefer 460 out of Canada. It's a 460 weight oil, food grade. We use it in everything we got. It's not going to hurt anything if you were to spill it on the ground. So there's no issues environmentally. It's a really good oil. It's expensive, but it's what you want to use.
It's like a mineral oil?
No, it's a 460 weight. It's a synthetic, oil. Yeah, but it's still a food grade.
Okay.
Very high-tech oil, but it's the life of this mixer. And we're going to send you out an email after we start this thing, 11 months, and say, hey guys, it's time for your annual service. Anybody, maintenance people, that anybody wants to be involved with it, our service guy will come out here, put eyes on it. He'll show you how to do it. If you want to do it yourself, next go around.
Well, I'll probably be here the first time.
Yeah.
Your guy comes and does it anyways.
Yep, that'd be great. And if you want to do it the next time, you can do it, or we can come back and do it ourselves. Our fee is not expensive at all. You'll charge you for the parts and the oil and the travel time. That's pretty much it. We just want to keep you pumping. We're not in the parts fixing things. We got technicians that come around and that work for us. So you don't have to worry about how am I going to get this thing fixed. We have our own techs that'll come out anytime from now on. Come out and work on it. But the first time it's under warranty. You got a year warranty on everything. Mixer, pumps, all that stuff. Just give us a call. After that, we stand behind it as well. We'll help you out any way we can. That's pretty much wrapped up the video portion of the training. If you have any questions, let me know. We got some rust on the tanks, on these spots around it. That's on us. We're going to come back after everything's said and done. paved and cleaned and all this good stuff, then we'll come back and we'll do touch-ups on the tank and the skid and make it all look nice and new for you.
You'll put labels on it too.
If you desire label, we will,
It would
but
be
just all
best.
zeros. If you want triangles, calcium hydroxide slurry, something like that.
Yeah, that
Yeah, we can put
exactly what it is, because
Oh, yeah, yeah,
the fire
yeah.
department comes by and does training.
Yeah, well, there's a
they
road.
need to see that.
Clear right here, yeah. You'll have, all the triangles are all zeros, it's non-hazardous. You just put them on there, of course, that lets them know that it's not hazardous at all.
Right.
And it'll say calcium hydroxide slurry.
Like on liquid bleach, people used to mislabel it chlorine. To the fire department hazmat guys, that's
That's
gas.
That's a dangerous.
That's the stuff that'll kill you. Not so.
Absolutely. Even though this is non-hazardous, you want to know it.
Right.
That way,
Well, what everybody else
pay no
knows,
attention
too.
to that, and yeah, especially facing this way. So we'll get you triangles, put them on here, and it'll say calcium hydroxide slurry or lime slurry, whatever you want it to say.
Yeah,
But
10%.
probably should say lime slurry because most people that are just driving by here won't know what calcium hydroxide. It sounds pretty dangerous. So
It does.
you know it's not. You just put lime slurry. Everybody knows what that is.
Yeah, put it in layman terms.
Yeah.
Everybody will.
If you've got a
understand
chemical
it.
formula on here, it freaks people out. So, we just say lime slurry and be done with it.
Yeah.
No problem with that. I'll make a note of that before I leave. Other than that,
Salt would freak people out.
I mean, I'm pretty much done. I don't want to overcomplicate it. There's nothing complicated about it. You just turn them on, turn them off, let them flush, let it eat. It's pretty simple. Nothing too big about it. There's no HMI, there's no controls, nothing like that. It's pretty basic. And that's it.
That concludes the training.
Make it more complicated unless you got questions. I'll just stay here all day with you. Don't bother me.
I'm surprised you didn't do the chicken thing.